Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. All we ask in return, please refer a friend. Today is Tuesday, May 28th, 2013. We'll be looking at a couple charts tonight, and we're starting off with the SPX, or the S&P 500 Large Cap Index. In this particular situation, today's activity moves to the upside really rapidly, and then we just hit that sell pressure. That's what that wick out of the top is indicating. We just had a bunch of sellers come in, the same point that we'd seen before. There's a few different things to take note of. Of course, you can see that the high point here is higher than the current one. Do I think this is exact top here? It's possible. I hope it's not. That's my way of viewing it. And there's actually a little bit of information here in this candlestick. You can see that it is hollow or white, and in that particular scenario, you can see that there's still buy pressure in there. And that typically, when you get a shooting star like this, what you're seeing is you'll still press to the upside before you break down, which I'm hoping happens because I want to short. So there's something to take, some hope in that I can get that short on the table before we break down. But the main thing here to point out is, again, the shooting star, and that is, again, the second one. This is the first one we had on Friday, and then we have another one. Oh, no, I shouldn't say Friday. And then we have another one here. So what I want to really point out here is, if you had a situation that was different, if you were looking at a chart that did something like this, pulled back really good here, and then you had a hammer candlestick formation here, followed by a couple days later another hammer candlestick formation here, bulls would be up in arms saying this is a great buy opportunity, and I would agree, because in that case you would have a higher series of highs, higher series of lows, and hammer candlestick formations is what I look for, right? That's perfect. That makes a lot of sense. Well, in this particular case here, you have the exact same thing. It's just flipped upside down, and it's a bearish scenario where you have the same scenario where you've overextended above, you've broken out. That's great. Now, you typically, when you break out, you measure this distance here, and you say, okay, well, that distance out the top would be duplicated, and that would tell me where I look for my tops for the next one to come in. Well, that's about where you're at now, and you're getting a shooting star 1, a shooting star 2. All these things are in line telling you what you should be looking for. Also, any rally you'd have to the upside is going to contend with this point here, the ultimate oscillator, near the 90 line, so any bounce that you'd have would be short-lived, and you'd be forming a bearish divergence across 2 points there. Again, all of this just telling you the same thing. So there's really nothing here. I don't understand why people were like, you're too bearish, or you're too bullish, or it doesn't matter what I do. People complain about it, but the reality is, it's just pretty simple. I mean, if you guys watch these videos every single night, you should be able to tell me what's going to happen next. It's pretty easy to read this chart and say, this tells me that the buy pressure that we're seeing here is not being supported. There's obviously sell pressure here. That's why we're getting these red day here, and this shooting star signal needles at the top. If we also move on down, we can see that the volume supports the sell case. You can see that the volume here, the volume is stronger on the sell side than on the buy side. So again, I'm not bullish there. If I look at the MACD, I see the bearish cross here. Again, nothing that would indicate I need to see some kind of bullish case scenario and continue to rally for forever. None of this makes sense to me on a bull case scenario. It does to somebody, obviously, but it's just not me. Let's take a look now at the VIX, or the volatility index, which runs the inverse or the opposite of the S&P 500. If you're seeing bearish conditions on the S&P, you should be seeing bullish conditions on the VIX, right? And vice versa. In this particular case, you can see low point here, and we can see that this is momentum on the ultimate oscillator, so we see the low point here, and then we bounce up here, we come and hit the 50, we pull back down, and we don't go as low as we did before. One of the telltale buy signals of an ultimate oscillator is pulling back here and failing to break down below that. They're showing momentum to the downside has decreased and momentum to the upside has increased. That would tell you to look for the same thing to happen on price activity. Here as well, you can see price moving higher. Now, what is this actually telling you? When professional traders get out there in the market and they are confident about what's going on in the market, they believe the market rally is sustainable and this and that, you will see a price of the VIX fall because they are basically not willing to take on options to cover their long bets. When you see the opposite happen and you see price starting to climb, they're becoming more cautious about the rally. The higher it goes, the more cautious they're going to become. And so this is something that you should definitely be concerned about. I mean, you're going to hear lots of mom and pop traders out there talking about how this is the next bull market because that's what the news is telling them. But the reality is the charts is telling them something completely different. Quick little announcement for you. Moments ago, I updated a new trade, a new swing trade alert that shows you something that I'm interested in right now, looking at and how I would trade that. You be sure to check that out, and that's about it. If you've not been to the free website at PerfectStockAlert.com, it's right there. It's 100% free. All we ask in return, please refer a friend. God bless, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Please take a moment to review our disclaimer. The information provided herein is our opinion only. Under no circumstances do any statements here represent a recommendation to buy or sell securities or make any kind of an investment. You are responsible for your own due diligence. To summarize, we do not provide investment advice, nor do we make any claims or promises that any information here will lead to a profit, loss, or any other result. These videos are for educational purposes only.